Past, Now Read presents another story that needs to be told, entitled Stories in Stillness. The evening sun melted softly over Cane River Lake, a dying fire bleeding out across the water in waves of gold and crimson. The wind had long since settled, leaving the lake a glassy, unbroken sheet, smooth as polished as stone. From a distance, it looked serene, perfect even, but beauty like that often lies. It was a deceptive calm, veiling something far older, darker, and patient beneath. Our house sat on a hill above the widest bend of Cane River. From the back patio, you could see half a mile of water before it curved out of sight, framed by cypress trees hunched and hungrily leaning in. I always loved that view, especially at twilight, but that weekend, it felt like the lake had eyes. My parents were away, out of state on some church retreat or anniversary trip. I can't even remember now. That whole weekend has been fogged over, as if my mind wrapped it in cotton to keep it from bleeding too much. But I remember thinking, this is mine now. The whole house, the river, the silence, all of it. And I called Jess. She showed up not 30 minutes later, wind blown from her bike, hair pinned back, smile wide. Jess was my girlfriend. Had been for almost a year, though it felt like we'd known each other longer. There was an intensity to us, that all-or-nothing brand of love that only 17-year-olds can summon, reckless and raw, and wrapped in dreams, too big for our bones. She had a laugh that rose quickly and disappeared even faster, but behind it was something else, a quiet kind of sadness, not the kind you say out loud, but the kind you feel in someone's fingertips when they hold your hand too long. Jess never told me what caused it. I never asked. Some things are too fragile to press. That night we grilled burgers on the back patio, shared a few of my dad's beers, talked about senior year like it was already behind us. We made grand plans, travel, college, a cabin in Colorado maybe, or New York, or nowhere. Just us, together, running from nothing in particular. I remember how the cicadas had quieted, how even the dogs down the road had stopped barking. And then I said it. Let's take the pontoon out. Jess grinned, no hesitation. Hell yeah. The boat was moored at the bottom of the hill, just past the dog run and down a slope of trampled grass that led into the water. Dad had bought it the year before, said it was for relaxing rides and grill-outs, but it mostly sat there unused, floating lazy circles like it was as bored as the rest of us. It gleamed in the last of the sun, 75 horsepower outboard, white railings, blue vinyl seats. A cooler half full of melted ice still sat under the bench. We untied it and pushed off, the boat chugging to life with a throaty rumble that echoed up the trees. As we drifted into open water, the shoreline pulled away behind us and disappeared into shadows. The cypress trees on either bank loomed high, their roots like gnarled fists buried in the mud. Their limbs swayed slow, even though the air was still. They looked like mourners at a funeral. Arms raised, silent. I steered it to the middle and killed the engine. The silence that followed was heavy, not peaceful. Thick, the kind of quiet that rings in your ears. We laughed, stripped down to our underwear, and dared each other into the water. The lake was warm, like bath water. Too warm. We dunked each other, screamed for fun. The sound barely carried across the surface. It felt like the lake swallowed it whole. When we climbed back aboard, Jess lay beside me on the deck, our legs tangled, hair wet, skin steaming in the night air. The stars overhead pulsed faintly through the haze of humidity, 1,000 tiny lies shining down on us. Then we turned off the lights, the boat's running lamps, the little bow glow, all of it. We'll see better stars this way, I said. Yeah, Jess whispered, nestling closer, and no one can see us. But privacy in darkness, it's a trick. Especially on Cane River. Nothing ever really leaves you alone here. It happened all at once, a shriek of metal and motor, the roar of something fast and stupid and angry, bearing down in the black. We didn't have time to react, just a blur of light, then a crack, louder than any thunder I'd ever heard, as a speedboat slammed into the side of our pontoon, its bow lifting out of the water, the propeller screaming as it tore through our boat like paper. The impact threw us. Jess was gone before I could reach her. The deck disappeared from beneath me. Water closed over my head. Cold, dark, No up, no down. I kicked, thrashed. My lungs burned before I broke the surface. Jess! A second of silence. Then, her hand, her fingers wrapped around mine. Shaking, slick. I held on. God, I held on. She was alive, trembling, bleeding, but alive. Around us, a debris floated. Seat cushions, a busted cooler, a cracked rail. The rest of the pontoon was sinking, dragging bubbles into the black. "They're not coming up," she whispered. "They're not." I knew what she meant. We looked, waited. No heads, no voices calling out. No other boat, just water, just black. We grabbed onto a piece of decking, lashed together with rope. I kicked, pushing us toward the faint line of shore. The lake stretched longer than it should have. My arms burned, my chest cramped. Jess clung to a life vest wedged between us. Every time I stopped to breathe, I felt the current tug at my legs, like hands beneath the surface trying to drag us back. When we finally crawled out, the grass sliced my knees. Jess collapsed beside me, coughing up lake water, face pale in the moonlight. We didn't speak. The walk up the hill was worse than the swim. Trees leaned over the path in unnatural ways. The wind carried whispers, real or imagined. I couldn't tell anymore. When the house came into view, it looked unfamiliar, cold, empty. Every window was dark. Every door looked locked from the inside. Jess sat on the floor of the living room, knees pulled to her chest. She stared into the shadows like something was still watching us. "Tomorrow," I said. "We'll tell them tomorrow." And we didn't sleep. I closed my eyes and saw the crash again, heard the scream, felt her hand slipping. I sat up, breath ragged, the night air too thick to swallow. I told my dad when they got back. Every word was like a weight dropped between us. He listened, didn't speak, just stared at me. The sheriff found the speedboat abandoned, half sunk, dripping blood, no driver, no prints. The dive team found the bodies, 3 teenagers, local college students, drunk. 2 of them were tangled in fishing line, necks twisted like dolls. The third was never recovered. The divers wouldn't say much, but I saw their faces, pale, hollow-eyed, like they left something behind down there. Just changed. She stopped smiling, stopped biking to my house. She looked over her shoulder too often, stared at water like it would reach out and grab her. I started talking in my sleep. My dad said I screamed some nights, that I thrashed like I was drowning again. Then came the whispers, figures standing at the edge of the lake. Once I saw a face reflected in my window. Not mine, not Jess, just wrong, pale, wet, mouth open too wide. Jess called crying one night. "They're here," she sobbed, outside my window. I ran. Her house was only 3 blocks away. I didn't stop. They were there, 3 shapes, standing on her lawn, dripping, watching. I yelled, threw a rock. They vanished, not ran, not walked, gone. After that, everything got worse. Jess stopped going to school. I stopped talking to anyone but her. We'd agreed to go back, one more time, to the lake, just to see. The air was hot but unmoving. The trees swayed anyway. The water, though still, hissed. We stood on the bank. I held her hand. Her grip was cold. "We can't escape them," she said. I nodded. "No, they'll always be here." We turned away. The wind stopped, but behind us I heard a splash. I never looked back. Now, Cane River Lake looks the same as it always did. Beautiful, serene. Tourists take photos. Kids fish from the bank. But it never changed. It never will. Because beneath that still surface, under the gold and crimson and lazy ripples, the lake remembers. It remembers blood and screams and cold hands reaching and horrors that never let go. You have been listening to Stories in Stillness, produced and adapted for audio narration by PASTNOWREAD. Stories that need to be told. Follow for more. Please tag with someone who may like stories that need to be told. Thank you. Special thanks to all those who go through traumatic experiences but put it behind them and bounce back.